Yes, and with those three clients up until today, I've made $27,000.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay. 27K in like about 5 months.
Yep.
That's awesome. And then you also tracked your time on this cleanup job, the $12,000 one,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
What was your hourly rate on that one?
I think it was $220 an hour, somewhere in that ballpark. I can't remember exactly right off at the moment, but it was
Okay.
well over $100.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when I tell people about this opportunity, they think $100 an hour even is too good to be true. So what would you say to some of those people that are, on the fence about doing this, but then they're like, that doesn't even seem possible? Like, how can you explain it?
So I was real skeptical. And then when we had our call and you were like, well, you can work 16 hours a week and make this amount of money and this and that. And I was like, it just doesn't sound right to me. Like there has to be a catch somewhere. But in reality, once I got, clients and started doing work, $100 an hour is a minimum
Mhm.
because most of my stuff works out to be double that every time.
All right. Thank you so much for being on here, Alicia. I really appreciate your time today.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I always like to dive in and start first by asking you a little bit about why you decided to join the Bookkeeper Academy and start your bookkeeping business. What was that like main reason for you?
So my main reason is I want to give my kids an amazing life full of like unforgettable experiences. Um, I've been a single mom for most of their life, and we struggled a lot, more so than not, until recent years. And so, even with increasing my corporate income, and now having a second income in the house with James, we just we get by, we have enough, we never go without. But I was like, this isn't the life that I want for me, and this isn't the life that I want for them. I want to be able to say, y'all have a long weekend this weekend. Let's go on a trip. Not, okay, let's plan out for spring break 3 years from now. And if we save enough money, we can go and still be able to eat at a restaurant instead of taking sandwiches. So I really wanted that kind of life for them. Just to experience what the world has to offer. In my younger years, I didn't really get to travel a lot. I didn't get to experience anything outside of South Carolina very much. Just it was. I grew up in a small town, and we just had a small, simple life, and everybody was good with that. And then as an adult, I started traveling for work, going all over the country, and I'm like, there is so much more to the world, and I want my kids to see this. And so that's what really got me going, into looking for something else that gives me that, and then also gives me the time to be able to enjoy all those things with them. Because I could, of course, climb the corporate ladder, but then I'm still stuck at my desk while, I'm buying them things to keep them occupied because I'm too busy to actually enjoy life with them. So I wanted something that gave me financial freedom along with my time freedom.
Yeah, I love that. Very similar goals that I have for myself and my family too. So I can totally relate to that. I think a lot of people can,
Yeah.
you get out there and realize there's so much more than just the little town that you live in. You get that travel bug and, you really want to see it all and let your kids experience it, not have them wait till they're 30 or 40 years old to be able to do something like that.
Right, right. And just say, we're scrolling Facebook and we see, a picture of something we saw the other day was the little huts in the Maldives, like over the
Yes.
ocean. And my little girl's like, that's so pretty. Like that would be my dream vacation. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna make that happen.
Oh,
Before I would have been like, my dream too, honey. Like, let's keep dreaming and maybe one day we'll get there. But with the academy and the opportunity and the mindset change and everything, I'm like, okay, we're going on the list. We're going to the Maldives. We're gonna make that happen. So
I love that.
that's my why.
Yeah, I love that. And I can totally relate to that too. Before I started my bookkeeping business and I was working for someone, it was like that. It was like those things will happen someday, but you don't even really realize if that statement is even true because you don't really know how in the world you actually would make that happen. But then when you start your business and you realize, okay, you can control your schedule, but you can also control how much money you have coming in. So if you do want to do something like that, you actually can make it happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's so exciting. I love that. So I'm excited here in a little bit to dive into the success that you've had in your whole journey in the academy. But before we talk about that, I'd love to know what your background is, because as you know, we specialize in helping people that don't typically have backgrounds in accounting or bookkeeping or whatever, but sometimes we do have students in our program that do have that. But I would love for you to share with everybody what your background is, what your skill set is, and how that has helped you or not even really mattered necessarily to your success.
So I am not one of the students with a CPA or any financial background. Um, so my background is in healthcare and sales, some management also, but nothing to do with bookkeeping. I did dabble in virtual assistant stuff, and I had started attempting to do the books for that client. And now that I look back and say, oh yeah, I do his books, I giggle because when I started the academy and was on one of the Zoom calls, they're like, okay, well, we got to reconcile this. I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, what does reconcile mean? And now I know that's like one of the most basic things you have to do every single month. And so I giggle looking back and I'm like, yeah, I didn't have any experience at all. So I would had to go back and redo his books once I got things figured out. I was like, yeah, I didn't do that right. None of that was right. So sorry.
Oh, awesome.
Actually, it was before we gave everything to the tax guy. Yeah, so I didn't have any experience really. And the little bit that I did have was counterproductive because I thought I knew things that I didn't know. So I had to unlearn that and relearn it the right way. But yeah, so no experience. So I'm really grateful for the academy.
Yeah, awesome. So I love that. I love that you were able to, learn those skills and be educated on bookkeeping as well. So you're building a business, but you're also learning how to become an expert in this bookkeeping skill. So could you speak a little to that, like how you feel like the academy helps prepare you and prepare other people for understanding the skill of bookkeeping?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the academy, the courses in themselves are great. You explain everything like on a level where somebody who doesn't even know what reconcile means can understand. Like you build a foundation and build onto that, which I appreciated because some other things I had looked into, or even just looking for yourself on YouTube, they start at like, bookkeeping 508 up here. What and I'm like, no, bring down 101 down here somewhere because I don't know what you're talking about. So with the academy, I got every single stepping stone that I needed to be able to understand and learn the correct ways to do things. And then the support in the group. If I'm like, I'm not sure, I think this is it, but I'm really not sure, I could ask questions there. The mentors are great at getting back to you like really fast and explaining things, which one of my favorite parts about the academy and the mentors is that they take the time to explain like this is how you do it, this is why you do it, and this is how where this would apply. So they don't just tell you like click this button, it goes there, that's it. Okay, well next time I'm not going to know the same thing. They explain it so that you can learn and gradually do it on your own without having to come back and ask like the same questions. And I really like that, like the putting that foundation there and explaining why you do it. That way, when I go into QuickBooks, I'm like, oh, that needs to go there because of this reason, and this is how it affects, these other pieces and stuff like that. Because I am not a person that you can just say this is how it is because that's how it's always been. No, I need to know why it's that way, and I need to know how to apply it and like the domino effect it's going to have. Where is it on the report? Like that way, because in one of my management jobs, I had to do a lot of auditing. And had I not like asked all the hard questions, I would have never known to look where to find things. And I think that has helped me in my bookkeeping is like, I want to dig in, not just look at the report and be like, yeah, it looks good. No, I need to know why it's that way and what could be off and all of those different things. And the academy gives you the knowledge and the foundation to know how to do that. And I think, that's just as important with bookkeeping as being able to, categorize and reconcile is being able to find the errors because, one error could be catastrophic come tax
Mhm.
time or, anything like that. It can be very expensive for just one error. So I really like that the academy explains that and they're always there to help you. And, they fully explain and answer things.
Yeah, awesome. Yes, those are some of my requirements of our team members is they maintain a 60 to 90-minute response time as like our max requirement. But this week we did our team meeting and they hit an average of 39-minute response time on every question, which is awesome. And then we have an entire like instruction on this is how you answer a question. And there's like 3 parts to it, asking more clarifying questions if you don't totally know what the student is asking, but then explaining multiple scenarios so you don't leave them hanging with just a question and then following it up with like, did you understand that? Because we want people to keep asking questions after that if they don't fully understand. So it's the only way you're going to learn if, you just got to keep asking questions until you get all your answers.
Absolutely. And it's very beneficial that they do that because one of my first questions, I can't remember exactly what it was now, but I wasn't even asking the question that I needed to ask. I guess I
Right.
was still really new. It didn't understand what I needed to ask.
Mhm.
And I think it was Tracy. She was like, I think this is what you're talking about. Is this what you're talking about? I'm like, yeah, that's what I meant to say. That's it. And
Yes.
so they're very, first of all, they're like, brilliant. I love that they know these things.
Mhm.
But yeah, they're super fast at responding. And something I found that I actually like, sometimes I like for them to wait a minute because then I can step away because I'm usually by the time I ask, I'm like overthinking straight. I'm like, I'm gonna go step away for a minute
Yeah.
and then I'm going to come back and look at this again. And normally I can see it in a clearer light then. And then I look at, whoever's the answer and I'm like, yep, that's exactly right. After I took a break, I completely see that, that being the correct way to do it now. So I think they time everything perfectly in the group.
Oh, good. Awesome. Yeah. Sometimes it does take that. You get like in that tunnel vision of trying to figure it out. And there's just like one thing that's missing or that you hadn't thought of. And if you just take a quick break, it usually pops into your head.
Oh, yep, that's good.
Sure. Yep. Gosh, there was something else I was going to say on that. I know it's you can Google all of this stuff, right? But I like what you mentioned, like a lot of times when you're first starting out, you don't know what to Google. You don't know exactly what the question is. You just know there's something you need to learn here, but you're not really sure exactly what to ask or how to ask it. So that's what's hard about like doing it on your own and Googling. You don't have that person that's going to be like picking your brain back on trying to figure out what the real question is. Yeah.
And then Google also gives you 20 different answers sometimes.
Yes.
That's the
Yep.
worst. I'm like, yeah, none of that. I can't. Let me not. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna ask.
Yep. And so it just kind of speeds up, it's been able to help people speed up their success,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
when you're asking these questions, it's because you already have a paying client, right?
Yep.
And so it gives you the ability and the confidence to go out there and get these clients, knowing you still have stuff to learn, right? So can you talk about that for a minute? Because I know a lot of people that considered starting their bookkeeping business, they're nervous because they don't know everything. They think they want to know everything first and then start their business. So how did you overcome that?
Yes, I was one of those people. And so I joined the academy mid-November and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get all my back office stuff done. I'm gonna finish all the courses. I'm going to learn everything there is to know about QuickBooks so I could be like top notch, know everything. And so I quickly realized that that was not reality, and that between, just general practices and QuickBook updates and, different changes, I would never know everything. So that was a hard pill to swallow. But once I realized that, I was like, you know what? I don't have to know everything, because it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I have a whole group of people that know these answers. And if it's something way out there that they haven't even dealt with, they can find the answers and they will figure it out for me and like tell me how to do it for next time. And I think that's been the biggest thing is I had to just really get comfortable with not knowing an answer, because I'm used to being able to, you ask me a question and I'm like, here's the answer because I know that. But once I opened my business, so I finally decided that I wasn't going to know everything. And I was like, you know what? I've got to get to marketing. And I did have some of the imposter syndrome, going on. Like, I'm going to put this out there for all 2,000 and some odd people on Facebook to see. And they're going to be like, you're a bookkeeper? I didn't know you were a bookkeeper. Like, when did that happen? And so I was like, okay, I'm ready though. I'm going to put this out there. So mid-December, I finally just said, hello, I'm open, did my whole virtual grand opening. And the 2 days later, I got my first inquiry. And then 2 days after that, he signed his engagement letter. And I was so excited. I did have most of my back office processes set up the way I wanted, I thought. And then when I started doing it, I was like, I don't like the way that flows. We're going to change this and that. But as soon as he signed his engagement letter, I'm like, okay, what do I do now? I was like, help. What do I do now? And so they were like, this happens to everybody. You're like so prepared, and then it happens. And you're like, I don't know where to start. So it was like, everyone's like, congratulations. Okay, step one, remember, you're going to do this. So I went back and reviewed some of the course, and I was like, oh, yeah, I know that. That makes sense. Okay. So if you're never going to know everything, no matter how long you do it, you're never going to be ready no matter how much you prepare. But once you get your first client, everything just falls into place. All the preparation that you've been doing, everything that you learned in the course, all the, Zoom calls that I was listening in on, and I'm like, they speak a foreign language. I don't know what any of this means, like the first week or so. Like, I don't know what they are speaking here. Like, I'm just jotting down notes, like, look at what this word means. And it was funny because then the next day in the course, it would explain it all. I'm like, that's what they were talking about. So it is kind of hard to put everything into play until you get your first client. But then once you do, you realize how much the Academy really has prepared you, even though you feel overwhelmed and nervous and like you don't know anything. But when you really like start doing the hands-on work, you're like, oh, Tiffany told me how to do this. Let me just do this. And, oh, that's what Tiffany was talking about. Okay. And so you realize that you really do know more than you thought you knew. You are more prepared than you thought you were. And then when the questions come that you really don't know, that's what you have the Academy group for. Like, they know, they're going to tell you how to fix it. And it's so reassuring, like I said, to know that I have that support. Because like I said, Google is not supportive.
Yes.
Not supportive. It will give you all kind of answers, some wrong answers. You don't know what's going on. And that's super time consuming and stressful to me anyways. But I know that I can just hop on one of the Zoom calls and ask, and here I go, fix my problem and move on with the next thing. So that is my take on like being prepared and starting.
Yeah, I like to kind of illustrate that whole process of like a puzzle. So as you're like going through the coursework and you're attending some of the Zoom calls and you're like, I don't know what these people are talking about, because everyone says that when the first like month or so they're on the calls, nobody knows what anyone's talking about. And so you've got this big jar, and like every time you learn something, you got puzzle pieces going into this jar, and it's just filling up with all this stuff, but you don't know what to do with it or how to apply it yet. And then you get your first client, and then it's like the jar just gets dumped out on the table. And so you've got this client, you've got all these puzzle pieces scattered everywhere. But then as you start working through the client, it's like, okay, there's the outline of the puzzle. and then you do a couple more things, you maybe get through their cleanup job, and then you've got like a whole bunch of pieces filled in, but there's still some gaps here and there. And it usually takes like 3, 4, maybe 5 clients before you feel like you almost have the whole puzzle piece filled in. But
Yeah.
that's kind of what I feel like the journey. Do you feel like that's kind of symbolic to what you experienced?
Yes, absolutely. Because on my first Zoom calls, like I said, foreign language, I was like, I don't know what they're saying. Now, when I get on Zoom calls, I'm like, oh, I know the answer to that. Like, I know the answer to that one too. And so I'm like feeling really confident in things. And, going through my clients' books now every month, or the big cleanup job I just finished, like, I felt really confident in the things that I needed to do. And that just, I think, came from like the little bit of practice and stuff that I have had and attending those Zoom calls and stuff. But it definitely changes. And I don't know when the change happened, but all of a sudden I was on Zoom calls and like, oh, I know that one too.
Yeah.
This is over here.
Well, it happens fast. I mean, you've only been
Yeah.
in the academy for 5 months.
Yep.
So it really does happen pretty quickly, but that's nice. I'd love to kind of talk about that. So you mentioned a little bit being in there, and within a month you started marketing, and then within 4 days you had your first signed client. So can you talk a little bit about what that process was like, quoting that client, and how much did they pay you? And I know you had some really good success with the cleanup jobs.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear more about that first client.
So I posted my grand opening on Facebook December 11th. I joined the Academy November 18th. December 11th, I posted my grand opening, and I got my first signed contract December 15th. So on the 11th, I just put it out there, and I was like, okay, I'm closing my computer. Like, I'll answer all the things later. Like, I'm super nervous. And so the next day, I was like, thanking everybody for their congratulations and stuff. And then that next morning, I woke up to a message that said, hi, I'm interested in your services. Can we have a call? And I was like, oh, great. So I sent in my booking link, was like, okay, yeah, we could do this call, whenever you're free. So he actually booked it for the next day, which I was really excited about. I was like, okay, he's eager to get started. So that's really exciting for me. So we did our call. I had no idea how to quote it. So I was like, okay, great. Well, I will, I'm going to work your numbers and stuff, and I will get back to you tomorrow. Is lunchtime a good time to give you a call? And he's like, yeah, that's great. So that night on the quoting call, we went over everything, and he wanted like the whole shebang of basic bookkeeping, AP, more AR review than actually doing his account receivable, but and then also project tracking. And eventually he wants to move over into a different payroll system, because right now he's kind of doing it manually. So I went over that with Casey, and so we came up with a number of $1,500. And to me, I was like, oh, that's a lot of money. Like,
yeah, per month. Yeah,
per month. And so, but that's because it came from my mindset of lack. Like, I'm working through that, but that's still my first response. It's like, oh, that's a lot. Like, nobody's gonna pay that. That's too much money. And he also needed back work for the year. So because I wasn't gonna be doing back project tracking or anything like that on his back work, we just knocked that down to $500 a month for all the things that he would need. Because he does commingle a lot. And transfers out, a bunch of different little things that are very time consuming on his account, because I have to do a lot of digging and research. And he has a lot of loans and stuff like that. So lots of accounts to reconcile, which is why we came up with the number we did. And so my back work quote was $6,000, and my monthly quote was $1,500. And I could have thrown up. I was so nervous calling him. And I was like, okay. And I know his wife and I went to school together. So I know her, and I'm like, she's going to think I'm insane. She's going to be like, Alicia has lost her mind. And just all these things were going through my mind. And I got on the phone and went over the proposal, and I had to like toot my own horn, because I sounded like I knew what I was talking about, and I had been doing it for years. I was, wow, I even convinced myself with that.
I love that.
And so at the end of the call, he's like, okay, well, do you need my credit card? Do you need a check? What do you need? And in my mind, I was like, "Need for what? You're really going to pay me? You're going to pay me to do this?" And he's like, I just had that process for a minute. I was like, "Oh, um, on the bottom of this form, you can just fill this out and send it back to me, and I'll go ahead and get everything processed and get started." And he did not even blink an eye when I told him that it was going to be $6,000 for his back work and $1,500 recurring. And I was blown away. Like, I was literally in shock. Like, I had to sit at my computer after we ended our call. He really agreed because he saw the value of what me doing his books would bring to his business. And that he's told me that since then. We've talked and stuff, and he goes, when I started getting all his books in order, he didn't have any of his assets on his books. So he started in 2020. And since then, he's never gotten any depreciation credit on his taxes because there was nothing on his books. And he owns, multiple pieces of heavy equipment. So he's not gotten any deductions on that. None of his books were actually categorized. Nothing was there. He does invoicing out of QuickBooks, and that was it. So he was guesstimating his income, guesstimating, his payroll stuff, and it was way off. So, wow, I probably need to do, an amendment to my taxes or something, because I paid a lot of taxes, and that I didn't really make as much money as I thought I did. And so he was like, the money I paid you to do that, I probably will get back 3 to 4 times that in my business, because I didn't know. And now that I have you doing it, I know. So that was really, really a moment to me, like, really proud of myself, because I was like, I do bring value. Like, I can do this. And, what I'm doing is important, because, without bookkeepers, business owners who are, trying to make it, it's really hard these days to make a small business thrive. And, helping them not overpay on taxes, or, be to really see and be able to plan for their, future business decisions is important. And so, like, now I can see the value in that. It doesn't hurt to give quotes anymore. Like, this is important. Like, this is a good value. In the long run, you're going to save money. Like, almost guarantee in the long run, you're going to save money. So,
yeah, I love that. Yeah, they do see the value, which makes it very easy to have a call with these, potential business owners. You don't feel like you have to be a sales wizard, to Jedi mind trick them into hiring you, because they already know it's valuable. They already know how it's going to positively impact their business. So as long as you can provide a good connection with them, like you jive with the business owner, and they have confidence that you're going to help them and you're going to figure it out, even if you don't know the answer right then, that's all that it takes.
Yep, that's it.
I love it. So technically, in your first month of business, you brought in $7,500 of income.
Yes.
That is so exciting.
Yes. And it was only half a month. So in 15 days, it was $7,500.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what has it been like since then? What have you been doing over the last 4 months or so with new clients and stuff?
So he is a recurring client. And then I transitioned my virtual assistant client into a bookkeeping client. I no longer do his virtual assistant stuff. It's just solely his bookkeeping. So I was really glad that we could make that transition. So I was able to hold on to him. So they are, at this time, they're my only recurring clients. I did have a really big backwork client. They're actually selling their business, so there was nothing there to do month afterwards. But it was a really big backwork client. They were $12,000.
Awesome.
Yes, which I couldn't even quote 6,000 to begin with. But when I got on the phone with her to tell her about the 12,000, I felt good about it, because I knew it was going to be a lot of work. But I also knew that they were about to sell their business, and it was important to have like a clear, visual of their financials that they could show the buyer, like, here it is. This is what it looks like. This is everything. And so she still comments all over my Facebook. And it's like, thank you so much for helping us. Like, you probably saved our marriage. Like, we would have never made it
Oh,
through
that's
that.
amazing.
So, because they were trying to, piece things together in boxes and boxes of receipts and just all these different credit cards and banks and this borrow from here to pay to here, doing all this stuff. And she was like, yeah, I couldn't even get my QuickBooks set up. So I'm gonna need you to help me. It's
That's
like, I'm
awesome.
here to help you. So that was a really good learning opportunity too, because they
Mhm.
had some different things going on with theirs that my big agricultural construction client, he doesn't have. So um, I like learning different businesses and like the different things that you encounter with those in their books. Um, yeah, so
Okay, so
that
the
answers your
third client,
question.
yeah, the third client was the cleanup job.
Yep, the cleanup job. Yep. And
Okay.
so I do the books for my mom and for James, but for some reason I don't get paid for them. But it's okay.
All right. So those are the main three clients that you've worked with.
So even with my virtual assistant client, he's gone to quarterly now because he just doesn't have a lot in his books to do.
Mhm.
Um, and so his now is only $300 quarterly because it literally takes me less than an hour to do his whole thing. So
Mhm.
I'm making $300 an hour
Yeah.
on that client. And then my big one, his varies depending on his response time and stuff, but it doesn't take me 15 hours to do his books every month. So I'm averaging a lot more. And on his cleanup, I think I averaged around 250, I think, on his cleanup too. So
That's awesome.
when you said $100 an hour, I was not a believer. And now I look at like $100 an hour is the minimum that I'll make on these things. And the more efficient that I get, my hourly rate will just keep going up. Like I don't charge them more, but I work faster. I'm not sitting at my desk and I still got paid the same amount of money. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
That's awesome.
definitely doable.
I love that. I love that. That's what I tell people too. And the reason it works out that way is because we put them in fixed price, affordable packages for these business owners. It's very
Mhm.
fair, very affordable for their business. But we also teach you how to streamline what you're doing. So you're not doing busy work. You're not doing extra things. You know how to draw the line between what they're asking for and what they really need, and
Yes.
make that whole process efficient.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. So what is the next step for you? What's your game plan now? You've been in here for 4 or 5 months. You've made $27,000. What is your next step in your business?
So right now I am zoning in on my marketing to grow my business. Just a piece of advice for anybody listening to this is be consistent with your marketing. That is somewhere that I didn't focus and I should have. What happened was I marketed, I got a client. So then I was like, marketing on hold, work. And then I was like, okay, I'm done with that. Market again, got a client. Okay, marketing on hold, work. And so I think at first I was scared that I would get more clients and I
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to handle it. In reality, that was not the case. Like I could have like kept marketing, and if another client came in, I would have very easily been able to handle it. But it was just, beginner's nerves, I guess. So I would definitely say be consistent in your marketing. So that's what I'm really zoning in on right now since I'm, caught up with everything, and just networking and to grow my business. Eventually, I do want to scale, to where I have employees or contractors working for me. And I am, just kind of being the face, the sales lady, and, spending all that quality time with my kids, making all
Yeah.
those great experiences for us. So
Yes, absolutely. I love that. And you've done this too while working full time, right?
yes,
Yeah. Do you still, uh-oh, my camera's turning off. Do you still have that job now, or have you let it go?
no, I still have that job. I let go of my virtual assistant job or business. I do still work my corporate job. Thankfully, it has some flexibility, so it doesn't take up all my time. Um, and I work from home, so for my lunch break and stuff like that, I can work and do marketing stuff.
Yeah.
But my plan is to eventually let that go.
Yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so how do you feel like working on your mindset has helped and benefit? I know you've mentioned that a little bit at the beginning, but how important is your mindset in this whole process?
So mindset is everything. I kind of feel like mindset is a lot like how people talk about diets, like 80% diet, 20% gym, like is what gets you
Mhm.
results. In
Yeah,
this, I feel like it's 80% mindset, 20% like knowing what you're
action.
doing and all of those sorts of things. I actually started getting really into learning more about my mindset and manifesting the life I want and all these different things about a month before I joined the academy. Your ad popped up on my Facebook stuff, and I was like, I really, really need to find my calling. Like, I need to do something. I knew I wanted to own my own business. I had no idea what I wanted it to be. I knew I wanted time freedom, so I didn't want something I had to make. I knew that I wanted to be able to scale it. I knew that I did not want to have to go back to college
Mhm.
because that just put me in more debt, take away more time. I didn't want to do that. So I had all these check boxes, and it was like, I don't know what's going to fit in that. Like, I'm being real picky and real needy, but I was being specific with what I wanted. And so I had gone over that list and I was like, okay, like I'm going to get a sign. Something's going to come to me and tell me, Alicia, this is what you're meant to do. I had originally thought it was digital marketing. Turns out I'm not creative. I don't really like that at all, which is probably why I struggle with my marketing, but I did not like that. So I was like, never mind. So when your ad popped up on Facebook, I was like, bookkeeping checks all my boxes. And I really like numbers. Like I've always been really good at math. I like numbers and problem solving and like digging in and reports and all that kind of stuff. It's like that's something I could do. And so like I just kind of looked into like your stuff and I bought the book first and read that in like 30 minutes. Like I was like, okay, yep, this is it. This is gonna be it. And so I was discussing it with James and he's like, here we go again. Because I've probably signed up for every MLM company there is. I had failed at every one. And then I got on, the digital marketing tangent. And he's like, okay, here we go. And so I was like, I'm gonna be a bookkeeper. I'm gonna open my own bookkeeping firm. And he's like, you'd be good at that, but are you actually gonna do it? Because I would start and then it would be like not what I wanted. And so
Yeah,
I would
really
just
hard.
shelf that and move on. And so I was like, no, I really think I could do this. I was like, okay, so I booked the call with you and you were so personable. I was like, I talked to the academy on my call. Wasn't that cool? He was like, yeah, that is. Like, you don't usually get to talk to, the face of the company. I said, yes, I thought it was really cool. And then, like, whenever we're going over the numbers of, you work 16 hours, you can make this much money. Like, when you were helping me set the goals and like making it realistic, I was still skeptical. And
Mhm.
then I just kind of like, all right, I'm gonna pray on it, I'm gonna think on it, I'm gonna do all this. And it was like the numbers on the paper just, I don't know, it's like this is real. Like I really could do that. And it would leave me all this extra time to do what I want to do. And so I think I emailed you back. I said, okay,
Mhm.
I have no idea how I'm gonna pay for this, but I want to sign up.
That's awesome.
So I got the money together for, that. And I was like, okay, got 2 installments left to do. No idea how would like I've scraped up everything I could scrape, and I got 30 days to make the second installment. No, even if I like saved every penny from my paycheck that I could, and like took money from here, took money, I couldn't have paid it. And I was like, "Whew!" I just jumped off that whole cliff with no parachute. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And I was like, you know what? I got to get my mind right. Like
Mhm.
I didn't get this opportunity for no reason. Where else am I going to start my own business with this small of an investment? Like nowhere. You can't buy products to sell or rent a building to start it. Nothing you can do. You can't start a business for the amount of money you can join the academy for. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to get my mindset right. I know this is my deadline, and this is the amount of money I need to make. So um, the funny thing is, I needed to make the $6,000 to pay for the other half. And I was like, okay, 30 days, got this, I can do this. And on like the 30th day, I got $6,000 deposited into my checking account to pay for the rest. I was like, oh, that was really neat. Okay, now I'm going to set my mindset to getting more clients and,
Good.
doing things like that. And whenever I started doubting myself, I had to say, you know what? This is you're a bookkeeper. And I keep my business cards right here on my desk and it says owner. And so whenever I start doubting myself, I pick up my business card and I was like, no, ma'am, you are the community bookkeeper owner. Okay. You
I love
run
it.
this. You've got this. So I have to give myself pep talks. But it's because like mindset is, I feel like a every day, every minute, every second, thing that you have to work on. Because if you stop for a day, that negative mindset will creep right on back up to the front.
Mhm.
And or, coming from a mindset of lack instead of abundance, all the different things, it'll creep right on in on you. And here you go again. It'll be like, this is too much. I can't do this. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And, no,
Mhm.
push that to the side. And even like I have like mantras that I do every morning about, I'm a successful 6-figure business owner, all these different things. I'm not yet, but in my brain, I'm telling my brain, universe, this is what I want. This is what you need to send me, and we're going to make it happen. And so people like James, especially, I try to explain things like that to him, and he's like, "It's a little woo woo for me." And I was like, "Well, it may be, but there are scientific studies about like your brain and like forming different webs and positivity and all this stuff." And he's like, "Well, it seems to be working for you, so just keep writing your sentences over and over and over again." I was like, I will."
I love that.
Mindset has been a huge shift, not just in my business though, just in life in general.
Mhm.
Doing simple things, just even down to like cleaning the house instead of being like, oh my gosh, all this laundry. I look at it as I was able to buy my kids all these clothes. Like
Mhm.
I'm so thankful for that.
That's
Cook
awesome.
at dinner. I'm so thankful I could buy these expensive groceries to feed my kids. So
Right.
and I have those are the hardest mindset things to shift, but just
Mhm.
little things every single day, and I can feel a difference in myself. Like I don't have nearly as much anxiety about things. Like just my attitude in general is better. Just little things, and it all starts with your mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I'm getting coached here. This is great. I just recently did that too. Last couple days have been challenging for me. It's just part of being a business owner sometimes is you have more responsibility than an average person does. But you focus on that. I made a list of all of the things that are coming up, the things that are going right. And it just got me so fired up again. So you do have to take an effort to, think about the positive things and keep yourself excited and motivated and wanting to move forward. So great
Yeah,
advice. Yeah.
that's what I'm going by, and I build on that every chance I get. I try to listen to more books, that keep me because you get lost in like, oh, I'm tired, I'm gonna go watch Netflix or I'm gonna scroll on Facebook or whatever, and that just fills you with anything but positive mindset. Like you get wrapped up in social media and what's going on in the world, and you
Oh,
got
yeah.
like, "Ooh, let me unplug from that and go do my mantras or something, go meditate for a minute and get centered back in the vibrations that I want to be in, and you know, get going on the right
Yeah.
path again."
Yeah. Yeah. I replaced social media apps on my phone with the like I am affirmation app and the motivation app. So it gives you those phrases every day.
Yes, yes.
Oh, those are nice. So what is your game plan for marketing? You said you wanted to start to keep consistent. What are you going to be doing for marketing consistently over the next few months to start bringing in some more steady flow of clients?
So most of all of my business actually has come from Facebook. So I really want to hone in on that because everybody is on Facebook. Uh, so I was not a big social media user prior to this, just because of the whole mindset and all that kind of stuff. I was trying to pull out of all of that. Now, of course, in my business, I got to plug back in, but I'm more focused on my
Yep.
time there. And so I did in the beginning get really overwhelmed because I was like, okay, I need to start LinkedIn. I need to do a Twitter. I need to do Instagram. I need to do Facebook. I need to do TikTok. I need to do this. And coming from zero, I was like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. And then on one of the Zoom calls, one of the mentors had mentioned, just do one, pick one,
Mhm.
get really good at one. And then, once you get into a good flow, if you want to pick up and add another one, that's great. And so I was like, okay. that's good. Somebody gave me permission to do
Yeah.
one. And so because Instagram and Facebook kind of link together and you only have to do the work once, that's what I went with. And so I've been posting to my business page, posting to my personal page, posting in groups, like the local groups around here, posting in different, adding a lot of and following a lot of service based businesses, because that's what I really want to like hone in on. I like really enjoy those types of clients. And so I've been getting really focused with targeting the right people instead of just kind of throwing a wider net. And I'm actually going to go out and market in town, because we live in like a medium sized town, but there are tons of small businesses here. And I'm not from here where we live now. And so it'll be a good chance for me to kind of go out and meet people anyways.
Yeah.
But just to introduce myself, and in my sales roles before, I used to do a lot of face-to-face sales and stuff. So I thrive in that energy. And so I want to, try that, because I know that social media reaches, thousands of people all at once. But I feel like sometimes my authenticity gets lost in social media. I feel like, oh, here's another lady posting about her business, like keep swiping. But if I can go and talk to people and, see what their pain points are and, see how we can work together, things like that. That's what I'm going to do next. I have my schedule blocked out for next week, a couple of days to go and do things like that.
Fantastic.
So yeah, I'm trying to get outside of my bubble. Like I've worked from home for like 6 years now, but COVID didn't help like my
introverting.
I was gonna say, like, lock myself in like a hermit. Up to the point that I even have my groceries delivered now. Like I have to leave, I'm not leaving. So I'm like, okay, this will give me some socialization. I need to get out, get some sunshine. So I'm looking forward to doing that, and potentially growing my clientele that way. Because I looked online and just kind of word of mouth through different business owners and stuff, that we don't actually have a lot of bookkeeping services here. So a lot of people outsource to like some of the bigger cities and like stuff like that. And the two that we do have here, one of them is not taking any more clients because they're going to be retiring soon. So I'm going to talk to them. Yes, I'm like, hello, I'm new. I'm not retiring anytime soon. So if you need to send me some people, that would be great.
That's fantastic. Maybe you
so
can
just get
buy their business.
Yeah, that might be an option.
Yeah. Well, let me know if that happens. I'll help you facilitate it.
All right.
Yeah. So that's exciting. Yeah, you're going to totally kill it with the networking. And that's where I really thrive too, because I'm an introvert person and I like to talk to people in a smaller setting, a one-on-one, not like a big, huge group or a stage or anything like that. So it worked really well for me. So
yes. And I've considered like joining our chamber and stuff. But that's where my introvert comes in, because I'm like, please don't make me stand up there and talk to people. Like I just become a blabbering fool. I'm like, what I just said. Yeah. So I was like, that's not in my comfort zone. And I'm trying to push myself out my comfort zone, but to a point that it still brings me joy. I don't want to do anything that makes me like resent my business or, the things that I have to do. Like I'm trying to set boundaries
I was going to say that's
in life and only do the things that bring me joy. So,
and you can tiptoe into the networking too.
Yeah.
Once you get more comfortable, the people, that it doesn't feel scary.
That's where I came back to step one of, let me go meet some business owners first before I walk into, the room. And I've scrolled through like who's in there and stuff. And it's like the who's who of the city. And I'm like, okay, that'd be really cool. Like I want to go meet them, but I kind of want to salt and pepper my name out there a little bit first before they're like, who are you? So getting a little more acclimated with everybody.
Yes. Okay. So if a potential business owner looking for a bookkeeper sees this video, what types of clients are you looking for? Who do you like to work with?
So I am looking for service-based businesses, construction, HVAC, plumbing, consultants, coaches, different people. Mostly because inventory does not bring me joy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the truth. There's parts of this that everybody doesn't, something somebody doesn't like, and inventory is one of those. I think it's just because I haven't had a lot of practice with it. So I am obviously open to accepting clients who do have inventory and stuff, because I really would like to get practice in it. But in the grand scheme, I'd like to base my firm around service-based business.
Got it. Awesome. I love that. And then for people that are watching that are thinking about potentially starting a bookkeeping business and joining the academy, what advice would you give them on helping them make that decision?
Start today. Don't wait till tomorrow, because it will change your life, period. Like it has in so many ways. Like one of the things that I think we don't really think about in the academy as much, but the sense of community and like, I won't say like family, like everybody's there, we're all going through ups and downs in life, and everybody's so supportive. And, when those hard times do come and you're like, I just feel so defeated, like this client told me no, everybody's there and just like gathers around you and picks you back up, and you're like, oh, thanks, that's the boost I needed. And like for people like me who have zero socialization outside of my house, like I laughed because one night I got on the call and they're like, well, Alicia, do you have any questions? I'm like, no, I'm just here to hang out. Like it just
Yeah, that's awesome.
socialization too. And I really appreciate that. Because we're all like-minded people. So, everybody, we all have goals, we all, have things that we want to achieve, and we're all kind of on the same path. So it's really like comforting knowing that you have that whole support system. And I wish I had found you sooner so that I could have gotten started sooner, and I wouldn't have been, so anxious about what I was going to do with my life for so long.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, if you can start today and give it all you've got, because the time does go really fast. I will say that it goes by really fast, but you'll learn and grow so much in the time that you're in the academy. And it's just life changing. You should start right away.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking time to come on here and tell everybody about your journey as well. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thanks. Well, I will let you get back to your day and keep me posted on how the next month or so goes. And we'll keep working on that marketing and keep growing. So if you guys really enjoyed this interview and you liked what you heard here, and you are considering wanting to find more information about starting your own bookkeeping business and or joining the Bookkeeper Academy, and you want to learn your options, click the link here and book a free discovery call with our team. We would love to talk to you and see if this is something that would work for your family.